7. Roll call, Karen Krabs. We could have
Jeff
the
Carleglio here.
Pasquale Izzo here.
Mike Horton.
Mike, you're on mute. Mike, you're on mute, bud. I don't think he knows how to get off of mute.
Yes, I do.
All right, there you go.
Didn't want to. All right. Others present. Chief,
Chief Rowland's here.
Assistant Chief,
Ed Backwoods is here.
Association Liaison,
Nate's here, yes.
Finance Liaison,
Donovan's here, yeah.
Fire Marshal,
Joe Capucci's here.
and Board of Selectmen Liaison.
Here.
And did I miss anybody? Tina?
Tina's here. Yep, I'm here.
All right. All right. Next item on the agenda is liaison comments. Have any liaison comments? Nate, Donovan, Joe? Okay, chairman's report is an update on dispatch, which we're going to do in executive session. COVID-19 up. Don?
COVID-19 update. We're still getting ones or twos in over the last couple weeks. It has slowed down since the last time we met. So that's a good sign. More and more people are getting vaccinated. One thing we're going to just keep an eye on is like the elementary school and the younger kids, because they're not eligible for the vaccination, and we just got to keep an eye on that. And we'll see if there's an uptick in numbers once it starts getting really cold out, and see how this year with like the flu or COVID ends up going. Do have some good news though. We put in for, I know the cleanings come up a few times, but we put in for over $30,000 in reimbursement for the government to have the town get reimbursed for cleaning supplies, all COVID related items. So hopefully the town's going to get reimbursed for that money, and we can continue doing what we're doing right now to keep everybody safe.
Federal money,
I'm sorry?
they're federal money.
Yeah, I believe it's federal money. Correct, Tina, if I'm wrong?
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, anything else on COVID? All right.
Nope.
Review of current financial statements.
Sure. So, can you guys see that or not?
No, not yet, Chief.
No.
Now I can.
Yeah.
You can.
Okay. So far we're in pretty good shape. Just keep an eye out on repair maintenance machine. That's always one to take a look at is 53510. Last year we were okay. We came in just under. You could see we have quite a bit of encumbrance, but we usually end up going through that. We usually pull that at the beginning of the year. So we're actually pretty good right now, and we'll continue. We'll figure out where we go from there. You could see like the radio line 54240 communications radio, 164,510, and we have $29,000 left. We paid our Motorola contract, which is, I want to say it was like $105,000, $107,000 earlier this year than we did last year. That's the yearly maintenance contract on the radio system for the town that incorporates PD, FD, and Public Works. So that's all three is in our budget, and we pay the maintenance on it. The other money that's encumbered is the $12,000. That money, I believe, that money is for the communication tower rental at the Seymour site, which we pay monthly to that site, so we encumber it, and as the bill comes in, we just deduct it off of that. And the other money is for electric at all these sites. It's for propane for the generators or diesel for the generator at these sites. Last year, we were over budget on that. We were able to cover it with some of the other accounts, but this year, we'll see how it goes, and we'll go from there. But those are probably a couple of big highlights to really talk about. The other one I anticipate being really close on or going over might be is gear replacement. We have a bunch of fire gear that we need to replace this year, and that is up. And it just happens that this is probably going to be a heavy year for gear replacement. Gear has a shelf life of 10 years. So every 10 years, we have to reissue guys new gear. So it has the fire retardant and all the fire characteristics that are needed to be retained in gear. So it's going to be a heavy year there, and hopefully we'll have enough. If not, we may be going to ask for some more money on that account.
What is included in gear, Sean?
So gear is especially bunker pants, a bunker jacket, hood, gloves. So in the fire gear, you have a shell, and then you have the outer shell, and then you have the inner shell, the thermal barrier. And basically it's the outer shell that mostly goes because it reddens, or over a 10-year period, it doesn't have all the characteristics that need to if you're in a fire to protect you. So that's usually what that covers. It also covers boots. So if people wear out their boots or they need new boots, gloves, fire hoods, stuff like that, that's what that money really covers.
Okay. Anybody else? I just have a question. Was it all purchased on a 10-year cycle? Is there any thought about staggering it, or how did it?
So we usually stagger it. So we usually buy a few sets each year, and it's usually on a staggered method. Just for some reason this year, we must have bought gear because we were probably up on a lot of people's gear at that point, and we needed to replace it. And if gear gets damaged, or if they're in a fire, if it turns red, it takes the retardant off and it would need replacement. Or if the stitching is all coming apart on somebody's gear, it's something we have to replace. So we probably had a heavy year of replacement 10 years ago. And we're probably going to need to do it again this year. And what is good is we have some new members. So with that, we really don't have hand-me-down gear anymore because everybody's gear is really fit for them. We try to get the newer guys to get hand-me-down gear so they can get through Fire One and all their training. But we have some other people that join that we don't have gear that fits them, and they need to be fitted per NFPA, per OSHA, and other entities out there that we need to provide them a fit set of gear for their body so they're safe. So that's where we are right now.
Okay, anybody else have any questions about the gear purchase or anything else in the financial report? No. Okay.
The electric, one other thing, this is electric buildings, 55221 for 36,000. So we had a little issue last year. We're going to keep an eye on it this year. I talked to Tony about this. So the town did a lighting upgrade within the town, and the fire department was one of them. And in that line, so they did a lighting upgrade, but it's a buyback program. So we're paying for electricity, but we're also paying for that buyback program, which is roughly, we're paying roughly $800 a month right now. I think it's going to be for a 3-year payback. And once that's done, then our electric bill should drop. But right now, we didn't budget for that $800 a year, which we will come this coming budget. We'll increase the budget to compensate for that, so we don't keep running over that line. We didn't know about it until last year, and we already submitted the budget before we figured out what actually was going on.
Can you just explain that? So I assume we upgraded to some energy efficient.
We did. So we did energy efficient lighting, LED lighting throughout the building. And with that, we had to buy the fixtures, and there's a buyback program, and maybe Mike Horton could talk more about it because he knows more about it. But basically we purchased the fixtures at a reduced rate. They come in and install them, and then we pay for it usually over like a 3-year period. And once we get done paying for them, then the town sees a reduction in energy costs for the building.
Okay, so we're basically using the energy savings to pay for fixtures. Is that how it works?
We are, but for some reason, which it's confusing, I thought the electric bill wasn't going to change. And it was just going to be a payback on what our savings was each month. But looks like we have to pay for the fixtures and the labor to install the fixtures. And it takes us, I think it's going to take us 3 years to pay that back before we start seeing savings. So it's actually costing us like $800 more a month right now than what we should be paying at this point.
And Sean or Karen, once that payback period ends, you'll see a net back to the department for $800. So when the buyback is done, the $800 savings will kick in. So
Okay,
you see a positive of $800 instead of a negative $800.
Okay, so, but it didn't keep the electric bill where it was. It was actually increased it.
Correct.
It increased it because of the equipment. It did not increase it because of the electricity purchase price. We buy electricity at a certain rate. That did not go up. What went up was all these fixtures that we had to buy and to put the LED lighting in. So you have to pay for that. And when your buyback period is done, you'll start to see a reduction in your cost of $800.
Okay, so the fixtures were what, about $60,000?
816, about $24,000. It's at $800 a month. It's $9,600.
Right, but we're saving $800 a month now, but we're paying $800 more. So is it twice that? You know what I'm saying?
You're saving. No, it's not a net zero because you're not saving anything right now because you had to pay for the fixtures. Once the fixtures are paid for, you'll realize the savings.
Okay, I have a couple more questions, but we can talk about them offline. That's fine. Okay, fire chief's report.
Karen, that energy savings came directly from the Board of Selectmen. That was an agreement they made.
Okay.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my report.
And Karen, that was done throughout the whole town. All the buildings were done.
Okay.
We had an extrication. I'm sure the assistant chief will talk about it later in his report on 69. It was a head-on collision. I'm sure he'll talk about that a little bit. And we used a battery-operated tool on that extrication that we just got recently, and it worked out really well. So that's a positive thing. We're able to extricate the victim pretty quick. The air bottles that I've talked about the last few months, they finally came in. We put those back. We put those into service, and the other ones are discarded. We have a storm coming in tomorrow. We've been monitoring it. We're looking at quite a bit of rain, 2 to 4 inches of rain, possibly 40 to 50 mile an hour winds. So we're going to keep an eye on that. We have people, the firefighters that are around tomorrow that they're going to hang in town, work from home. So in case we start getting a lot of power lines down or fire calls, they'll be able to respond, and we'll have a good response tomorrow to manage that. So
John,
we
do
did,
you know if there's going to be any travel advisory? Are you hearing anything about?
I haven't heard about a travel advisory yet. Just there's going to be a lot of rain and wind tomorrow, and we're going to have rain pretty much all week. So we'll just keep an eye on it. It's supposed to be windier a little later in the week. I think it's Thursday or Friday again. But tomorrow is going to be it's going to be more like a nor'easter tomorrow. They're calling for.
Okay.
Truck or treat is Sunday, the 31st. It's going to be just like we did last year. It's going to be a drive-through, hopefully like a touchless event. So you're going to be able to drive through. The trucks are all going to be decorated. We had a lot of people fundraise. A lot of people brought candy by, which is good. So we're pretty good for it. We could use a few more donations. If anybody's out there looking to help us donate for this event, that'd be great. But we had a big community turnout. A lot of people dropped candy off, and quite a few people have already donated. So it's working out well. Hopefully this is going to be the last year like this, and then we can look at doing fireworks and stuff like we did previous years. So we'll see how it goes.
Nice.
The other thing is engine 9. The engine 9 spec is 99.9% complete. There's some loose equipment that we have to add to it, but the cost of the truck is in the area of about $955,000. That's going to be going to, I'm going to talk to Tony about that and Beth, and hopefully they usually use, what usually happens in this case is it will go to HGAC, which is the Houston Galveston contract. It's already been bid out, so the town doesn't have to go through the expense of bidding the truck and this and that. And once that all is all set, it goes to the Board of Selectmen and then to the Board of Finance, and then we can order it. Once we do that, we probably, and if everything goes all right and everything is ordered, the build on the truck is right around now anywhere between 16 months and 2 years. So we won't see this truck for quite a while. This is the 1995 truck we're looking to replace. So we're already 26 years. So time we get rid of it, it's probably going to be close to 28 years old, if not better. So the truck is definitely due. We have, we've been throwing a lot of money at it for a few years now to put Band-Aid fixes on, but it's becoming not reliable, and the truck needs to be replaced. And the town knows it. We've talked about this in numerous budget meetings, and they know this was the next truck to go. That's
So when does that come before? Sorry, when does that come before the board for approval?
So I'll reach out to probably Beth and Tony this week, and hopefully at the next, if we can get all the paperwork done, maybe at the next Board of Selectmen meeting, which I'm not 100% sure when that is. Hopefully it's not next week, but we will get them that information, and we can get it on the agenda and discuss it and hopefully move forward with it, because we definitely need to order it. And with shipping delays and everything else, I mean, on a good time, it would be 16 months. So who knows? I think we're going to be closer to 2 years plus on this truck.
Okay, and do you need the Board of Commissioners to act on that before it goes to the Board of Selectmen?
Yeah, so we sometimes do that, sometimes we don't. I would like to have it where the Board of the Fire Commission blesses us to move forward. So we spent a lot of time on this truck designing it. It's going to be more of a rescue bumper where it goes to motor vehicle accidents, and it's set up more that way. And it's a backup to Engine 7. So if Engine 7's out, it's also a drafting truck where we can use it. So.
Okay, so it may require a quick special meeting if it's going to go before the Board of Selectmen. Our next meeting is going to be the 15th, I think.
You guys want to vote? You want to vote on it today, or you can't?
Well, we don't have the specs. I would say yes. We need the specs ahead in front of us before we vote on it. Right?
Okay.
So,
The spec is just to put in, this isn't like going to be a 1 or 2 page spec. I think the spec on this is either 190 or 200 pages long. So I could send you the whole PDF, or if you guys want to stop by the firehouse and take a look at it. It is, it's quite in detail.
okay, is there,
I don't really know much about fire truck specs. I'll leave that to you.
well, I would be looking for an executive summary that lays out the highlights and the price and the financing and all of that.
So the financing, Karen, we don't get involved in. That's the Board of Finance. So basically the Board of Selectmen doesn't even do that. So the Board of Selectmen basically blesses it, goes to the Board of Finance, and the Board of Finance figures out what funding vehicle they want to use, whether it's typically they do a lease purchase, and they end up paying it in arrears. So even if we get the truck in 2 years, the first payment's due on year 3. So they usually figure that out, and Tony goes through it, and they.
Yeah, no, I mean, we approve the budget, even though the Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen control the budget. So I just think we should have the major bullet points in front of us before we vote. That's all.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
I would just use the same process we use with the budget,
All right. So if I'll work on some bullet points, I can get it out to you guys. We can have a quick meeting to discuss it. If you guys would like to take a vote on it, that'd be good too. So I just want to make sure we try to get it on the Board of Selectmen meeting for November, so we can start moving on this, because there is going to be a price increase coming up with the truck manufacturers very shortly.
You're breaking up. I don't know if it's on my end or yours, but I'm only hearing every other word for some reason.
So there is a time crunch on it, because there is a price increase coming from the truck manufacturer. So I'll work on getting a list of bullet points, and then hopefully we can have a special meeting, because I want the Board of Selectmen to really move on this in November, so we don't have to pay a cost increase.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to hold you up, and we won't. So
Okay.
You tell us when you're ready, and if it's before the 15th, then we'll do a special meeting.
Okay. So
I was just looking to see when the next meeting of the Board of Selectmen was. Does anybody know? Joe?
No.
Joe Christo?
No, we're meeting tonight, but
Okay, so then in 2 weeks? You have another one?
Yeah.
Okay. So probably the 8th?
It's around the 15th.
Okay. All right. So we'll do whatever we have to do. If we need to move our meeting up to the week prior, we'll do that. Okay. Anything else on apparatus or chief's report?
Nope, I think I'm good.
Okay. Activity report, assistant chief.
Eddie, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Thought it came off. Good evening. We've had, in September, we had 49 calls for 267.79 hours. Brings us up to 339 calls for the year and 2,465.41 hours. Of those, we had one call that was considered a fire. We had 2 extrication calls and assistant emergency service personnel. We had 21 hazardous condition, no fire, 5 service calls, 18 fault calls, and 5 calls for severe weather during the storm that we had. Of the hazardous materials calls, 6 of those were motor vehicle accidents, and we did have the 2 extrication that are counted separate from the regular motor vehicles. So we had a total of 8 motor vehicle accidents in the month. The one extrication the chief talked about was the one up on Litchfield Turnpike, and the other extrication was 2 days before that. 2 days after that, up on Route 15. So both those calls went off without any issues. So the other information that, for the third quarter, we had 151 calls for 1,232 hours. On average, in September, we have 36 calls on average for 288.6 hours. An average for year to date at this point would be 350 calls for 3,425.15 hours. You can see that we're slightly over in September, but for the full year, we're running slightly less than our normal activity. And that also reflects in the yearly, the third quarter, we're a little higher on number of calls and hours for the year, but for the quarter, we're slightly lower. So we're doing pretty good. We're going to stay consistent with about that same number of full year calls that we see on average. Unless pending another storm, we should be right about that normal average of about 475 calls.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Fire Marshal's report.
Good evening. I was out 76 times, 59 inspections, 4 for consulting, 3 plan review, public education 5 times, and 1 auto fire investigation. We've seen about 600 children in the last couple of weeks doing fire prevention at Beecher and various daycares and preschools in the town. And I can say that we're complete with the bad weather coming. We're done with fire prevention for a while right now. That's all I can tell you.
All right. Thank you. Anybody have any questions? Okay, correspondence.
So we have some correspondence here. This came from, it was a thank you from Jeanette Glitzman from Human Services for allowing us to have the Living Treasure Award dinner at the firehouse. Another one is for Beach Road School for Joe when he went to do fire prevention at the school. From Lola Johnson at Beecher Road School, and helping out at the fund run for the rec department this year, for the fun run and for the 5K road race.
Very nice.
All right.
You guys have been very busy.
Yeah, we're gonna be busier with. We just got to get through trick or treat. So if you guys want to help us out with trick or treat, you're more than welcome to. Just let me know if you're going to show up. They hand candy out, help decorate, or whatever. Just let me know. We'll go from there.
Sounds good.
All right.
Approve September meeting minutes. Did everybody get a chance to review them?
Yes.
Anybody have any additions or changes?
No.
Okay, I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the September 20th meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll
And a
second.
Thank you, Steph. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, everybody. Okay, our next regular meeting date is November 15th. As we discussed, we may require a special meeting before then, and we'll let you know as soon as we can. And then I would entertain a motion to go into executive session and invite Chief Sean Rowland and Fire Association Liaison Nate Case.
Make a motion to go into executive session.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries. We are in executive session at 6:38 PM.